Welcome to the Fabulous Lifestyle Radio Show, where we talk about food, fashion, finance, and foundations of life. We are live on KCAA Radio Broadcasting Network, 1050 AM, 102.3 and 106.5 FM. KCAA is affiliated with CNBC, NBC News, and NBC Sports. We are sponsored by Sheltered Studios, Fire Up Connect, and Building Solid Foundation.
Welcome back to Fabulous Lifestyle Radio. I am your finance host, Steve Matley. Today, our special guest on the show is Dr. Christan Maxwell. We're talking about higher education. Specifically, we're talking about learning degrees in the built environment at architecture, construction management, interior design, along with interactive media and product design. And before we get into the next question I have for you, Dr. Christan, can you share with the listeners how would someone contact New School if they're interested? What's the best way to get a hold of them?
Best way to get a hold of us is to jump on our website and request some information. We always welcome walk-ins at the school, so we're open for that, even during this time of COVID. Or you can just dial in to as well. Our number is listed on the website.
Okay, so the website is newschoolarch.edu. That's newschoolarch, as in the first part of architecture, newschoolarch.edu. Go ahead, go to the website. You can find phone numbers there. You can stealthily cyberstalk the school and figure things out on your own if you're not ready to engage yet. There's a lot of great information there. If you want to visit the school, it's in downtown San Diego. It's in East Village, which is kind of the up-and-coming, I would say, the hipster sort of neighborhood in downtown San Diego at 1249 F Street. Now, the school actually fronts on Park Boulevard between F and G Street, and it's right where the trolleys run through. So come down and visit us sometime. And, of course, while you're there in downtown San Diego, you want to stop at the Gas Lamp, Little Italy, East Village Eateries. There's all kinds of great stuff to do there. And you stop by the school and say hi. So, Dr. Christan, I have a couple more questions for you. One is, we mentioned the career services. We talked about that. What is the job placement rate at New School?
Well, right now we're at about 89% of job placement. We teeter back and forth at a high number, which is very different than compared to other institutions. And so our career services employees work really hard to make sure that we get our students placed. So that's kind of where we're at right now. That's a really large and high number.
So what's the average for college placement for a typical similar type programs?
The reporting average currently right now is around the mid-50s, to be honest, for placement for, private institutions. So we have set the bar really high. We're way above that.
Okay, so that's really good. That's almost double what the average is for that. So what that shows is two things. One, the degrees, the disciplines that tie to the degrees New School offers are obviously in high demand. And secondly, that the school is doing a good job of engaging with the industry to introduce them to the students who have graduated and have the skill sets they're looking for. Is there anything else that you attribute that high placement rate to?
Yeah, we actually work with our students and we prepare them for a practice mindset. And that's usually, anywhere from 6 months to a year before they're ready to graduate. We offer portfolio classes, mock interviews, resume workshops, career fairs, and we do a lot of networking with the industry. So I think that attributes to a lot of the success that we're having in placing students right now.
Yeah, and a personal story on that, I just wrapped up teaching a capstone class, which is a senior class for the undergraduate CM program, construction management. And I've had 3 employers reach out to me in the last couple of weeks asking me, hey, who do you have? We need people. Who can you send to us? And in talking to the people in that class, they're the ones that are graduating, the closest to graduation. Only one of those students didn't already have the job, even though they're still in school. They were already employed. So it's the kind of nature of the market we're in right now is a booming market for all those skills. So what are some success stories that you can share of from students that graduated from New School? What do you hear?
Well, I know that a lot of our graduates, and you can find a lot of the alumni spotlights on our social media and on our website, but we have students that are working for Gensler, Basel, Texture, R&D Architecture, and those are also employers that we're connected with too as well.
Okay, some of the biggest and most well respected architecture and design firms anywhere, and I know for the construction students, I've been involved with the program since the end of 2014, and if I go down the list of the companies where my past students working now, there's Swinnerton, there's Hensel Phelps, there's Turner, there's Clark, there's Level 10, there's Holland, there's Balfour Beatty. I'm trying to think. There was Granite. I'm trying to think. We have. It's almost too long to list, and actually some of them don't go directly to the builders. We have a couple. One was working for UCSD in their facilities department. Another working for the University of Iowa, where they basically act as kind of the owner's representative hiring. So there's a lot of good success stories, and I will also say this: I did hire one of the alums of the interactive media and graphic design program to design the logo for my company, and she did an absolutely amazing job on that. So they do learn the skills that they need. A lot of great success stories coming out. Check the website. There's some great alumni spotlights, and I will say, having gone on there and checked, I did see quite a few of those tied to students that are veterans, tying back to what we talked about before the break. A lot of them were military veterans, and they talk about their transition coming out of the military into school and then going into the industry where they're very well paid and highly sought after. There was almost bidding wars for them between different companies trying to hire them. So now, can you share the average salary for, let's say, an architect graduate? They finish their program. They're going to obviously graduate. They have to still take their exam. But what would the starting salary be for a student graduating the architecture program?
Well, that's one area I definitely don't like to give a solid dollar amount on.
But they could check the Bureau of Labor Statistics website maybe and find that information.
Right.
Okay.
Right. I think that would be the best option because it also depends on years of experience, the company size, the location. So, I always try to tell people to go to the labor.
Yeah, and I know from my niche of the industry, I kind of know what's there. But as you said, a lot of that's very regional. And a lot of that has to do with what type of company you end up with. So that's a fair answer. And I will tell the listeners, because we have listeners not just in the local Southern California area where KCAA's being broadcast to, but we also have podcast audience, and the podcast gets it from everywhere. So it is very different depending on where you are in the country or even around the world, what those pay rates may be, because living expenses and the supply and demand for the highly skilled people can be different in those areas. So
right.
I will say this, though, and I can say this, I think, without getting myself in too much trouble. The built environment pays very, very well. Those are very sought-after skills that right now are in huge, huge demand. We mentioned a little bit about how the small classes help with the students knowing the faculty. But there's also the staff at the school. So you're not faculty, you're staff. You're a support for the students and for the faculty and for the school. So what kind of so the schools I went to, for example, I have no idea who the admissions and registrar people were. It was a faceless, I don't know, some kind of a thing that happened in a bunch of cubicles in a room somewhere. Tell me, how does the staff support look in a school like New School that's small and private?
Well, I mean, we are pretty involved, I think, across all departments. And so, we're pretty much out there, networking with our students and, giving them advice. And, of course, our doors are always open for those of us who have doors. And so, we like to get involved right from the beginning because we feel that, it's going to be a good connection after they graduate. It helps with their success, and all their endeavors that they do in the school.
Yeah, and I will say from my experience, having come from, like I said, I went to public junior college and then to two larger private universities, and most of the staff, I mean, you went and paid your money to the person behind this window, and you had a meeting with your advisor at this desk at a certain point in time, and that's the only time you ever saw them was that hour once a semester just to get signed up. And outside of that, I didn't know who anybody was. It was just all these people that worked in a building somewhere. At this school, I was actually amazed at seeing students sitting down across the desk from the registrar, actually talking through things and figuring things out. The student advising that they don't just come in once, they come in anytime they need to for follow-ups, and they try to customize learning plans to get them through the program. A lot of our students are transfer students, so they don't just fit the list of classes. You have to kind of figure out how that's going to work, so they don't retake classes they don't need, and at the same time they maintain their full-time status, and that can be a challenge sometimes. But across the board, you see the staff at the school engaging with the students, and to me, that's an unusual thing. That's something I have not seen at any of the schools that I went to, honestly. So that's an entirely different thing that fits a culture of a very small school. So one more thing I want to get into is the industry out there. You mentioned we're connected with different companies out there, employers. What are some business networking opportunities with New School?
Can you repeat that one more time?
What are some business networking opportunities to engage with these industries?
Well, we bring a lot of industry leaders into the school. Obviously, we do a lot of different business connections. Ideally, we do a lot of outreach, community outreach. So we're looking at, as far as businesses go and stuff like that, really hosting events on our campus and, getting our students involved to participate, to get that experience of learning how to network, things like that. But we definitely pride ourselves on all the outreach that we have, with industry leaders, different businesses, as well as Fire Connect, obviously. And then, we also do a lot of stuff with other institutions too as well, the community colleges and things like that. Okay,
and I will say this, one of the things that ties in, we can get into the faculty a little bit later, but almost all the faculty at the school is heavily involved in the industry currently. They are in whatever industry they're coming from. The school is not necessarily looking for people that have a lot of letters behind their name, as opposed to those that are very highly experienced and knowledgeable in that particular skill set that's necessary for that class. So, like, for example, the teachers I have all teach for all the big companies out there, or they work with large public agencies, and they're doing it in the daytime and then sharing it in the classroom in the evening with the students or the next day. And that's a huge thing. If they're not separated from their industry by, they've been teaching for 15 years, and that was the last time they ever stepped foot in the industry. So we're going to come back. I'm going to ask a few more questions on the last segment here with you. So don't go away. We're going to be right back. This is Fabulous Lifestyle Radio. I'm your host, Steve Matley, with the financial segment. We'll be right back after this.
Welcome to the Fabulous Lifestyle Radio Show, where we talk about food, fashion, finance, and foundations of life. We are live on KCAA Radio Broadcasting Network, 1050 AM, 102.3 and 106.5 FM. KCAA is affiliated with CNBC, NBC News, and NBC Sport. We are sponsored by Sheltered Studios, Fire Connect, and Building Solid Foundation.